Good afternoon. Pleasure to have you all here today, and it's a pleasure to host you all. And it's really great to see the attendance from across the industry with partners and fellow hoteliers. So very encouraging. We'll start with a phrase that prior to COVID was a statement that was used and we looked at and we talked about it and we started to work towards making some changes in line with this statement. And then COVID came along and this statement went out the window and we just tried to survive. So I joined this hotel 4 years ago as we were coming out of COVID in Dubai, and we ran a town hall for the team, and there was a section questions for the GM, and they could put it on a QR code and ask the questions anonymously. And the most popular question I got, besides accommodation and staff canteen, was what are you going to do about sustainability now we're coming out of COVID? And it was the top requested question. So I realized there was a culture of sustainability within the team, and it just needed to be fostered and encouraged by me, and make sure that the whole senior leadership team shared the same culture, because there was passion from the team to drive it. And obviously, my job is to drive the culture in this hotel, but also to get investment from owners. And we heard from our friend from Marriott that dealing with owners and getting investment from them can be quite challenging when you're trying to drive sustainability goals. So when money's involved, I mean, my job is to return good results for the shareholders. So whenever you're presenting something, you've got to present it with what's the shareholder value. So I'm going to take you through a few things that we focused on, that we got across the line pretty quickly and easily by doing the research, putting the data together, and then presenting in a way where it's pretty difficult to say no, because we can all claim to be sustainable, but when we're presenting a sustainable action with a good ROI, there really is no reason to say no. So when I started looking around at how to help drive this process, this is when I first met Radhika on a podcast, and we talked about the challenges of selling to owners. And then we struck up, I think, a professional love affair, you can call it, over the past 3 years, and really achieving some great things. And particularly the waste management is something I'm really proud of that the team have achieved, but it wouldn't have been possible without Radhika's guidance and support. And I'm proud of the partnership we've had over the past 3.5 years and the success we've achieved. Simple things, LED lights. So we partner with Philips on this project. The payback was less than 12 months. Investment, I think, was 900,000 dirhams, which I put as a capex. And I went to the owner and said, light bulbs is an OPEX cost, but we're going to do this project. I need 900,000 dirhams from you. Oh, by the way, the payback will come between electricity and light bulb replacement in less than 12 months. And again, signed off straight away. So the way you present the data, and if it's a foolproof presentation, any asset manager or any owner will see the ROI, and it makes perfect sense. Next up was our water heaters. They were running out of life and we needed to be replaced. We didn't want to replace them with like for like. So when you explain they need to be replaced, but we can replace them with something that will give you a saving in terms of electricity, and obviously a very, very quick payback. You'll notice from the design of the resort, we have a lot of water heaters because we've got a lot of individual blocks. It's not one main boiler for the whole resort. We have individual water heaters. So this was an immediate impact and an easy sell. They were due for replacement anyway, and you get owners on board very quickly when you start saying, here's the cost, but here's the savings we're going to make by updating the technology for the water heaters. The water bottling plant, I'd seen this in the Maldives during my time there. We introduced it in Oman. I could see that guests were complaining about the amount of plastic water bottles in the room, in the restaurants, around the whole resort. And this is an easy win. We've been doing it in the Maldives for years because of living on an island and boats coming in and out, storage space. You want to produce your own water. So this was an easy sell. We had about 1.2 million plastic water bottles. We worked out the cost of the plant, the cost of the water, the cost of electricity versus buying the bottles, which effectively is from Diwa. And we're still buying the water through Diwa. And the payback on this was 1.8 years. And actually the supplier gave us the option of a lease-to-own option or a purchase outright option. And when I presented both scenarios to the owner, he said, no, I prefer the buy option. There's a slightly better option. Well, let's put the cash in now, and we'll get the money back in 1.8 years. So an easy sell. But the positivity received by the guest of reducing the plastic is really fantastic. And we've had the plant in place for about 3 years now, and very successful. The only challenge is people keep stealing the bottles because of the branding on them. They take them home and use them as vases, I think, or water bottles. So the pilferage of the water bottles is the bigger challenge than managing the water consumption. These are the flow raters, so very, very simple. Adding flow raters to your taps, in your guest rooms, in your kitchens. Really simple. The maths is done pretty quickly. Great to see some suppliers of this product. They can do the maths for you, and easy to present, and very quick return. I think the return on this was 8 months or something like that. So an easy pitch, and something that can be done relatively easily. And you know, with the right partner, they can really help explain it to you. Because I'm not an engineer, so I can understand it and then translate it into owner language and get these things across the line quickly. Waste management, this is something we've been actually very successful with. Power Knot is our partner for digester. We bought one for here, we bought one for the World Island. So you go to the owner and you say, listen, I need 250,000 dirhams. Well, it was 500,000 for two, so I needed to go and explain I need 500,000 dirhams and what the saving will be. So immediately you can see some of the opportunities we had. Waste collection. Immediately you've got saving in waste collection. So the residents who live in our resident buildings, they didn't segregate their waste. When I said, listen, I can reduce your service charge if you can start to segregate your waste, suddenly everyone's compliant with segregating their waste and putting food waste, plastic cans, and general waste. So we're able to reduce the number of trips. And obviously that reduces not only the hotel costs, but also the service charge of the residents who contribute towards the garbage pickups. So here you can see some of the ROI that I can present to the owner in just from reducing the number of trips per week, because we're reducing our waste to landfill. There's quite a few numbers on here. So here you can see, in quite simple terms, our waste reduction in 2022, or our benchline waste, and then what we managed to reduce in 2023. To give you an example, when we started with Radica in January, we had 4% was a diversion rate being recycled, which I think was a little bit of cans and maybe some paper. And then we reached the highest in the month of September 2023 of 79%. So the average went from 6 to 66%. So that was driven by the culture with the team, but also providing the solutions. And it was great to hear some of the presentations today. A lot of companies providing solutions to help you achieve your goals. And we're able to work with a number of them, whether it be glass recycling, paper, cans, oil, and then quite a few other things as well. So if you look at what we divert, glass, paper, plastic, metal, the obvious ones. But we also changed coffee supplier. So the coffee pods, the coffee supplier said we can't take them back, we can't recycle them. So we changed coffee supplier to a supplier that would take the coffee capsules back. All the ones that go in the guest room, which is a very high consumption. Soap, how do you recycle soap? There are companies who will recycle the soap for you. Linen and slippers, Dr. Linen, I know we've been looking at that solution amongst a few others. So trying to find the right partner for that. And then obviously food waste to the digester, and then getting the residents on board who live here has been really, really critical as well. So the digester again was a business case we presented, owner approved, and then now they see the results of it. They're much more confident in in our proposals, seeing that all the ones to do with sustainability over the last few years have worked successfully. And I think that's about it from me, really. Selling it to the owners is critical, and we've managed to do it quite well on quite a few topics here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, James. And what James touched on, I think, and certainly having to lead here, the ecosystem in the UAE now is fantastic to be able to get rid of waste, and also the agriculture coming up, and the different options that properties now have to address their issues is fantastic. The driver from the 19 sustainability guidelines have really, really helped properties understand that there is, because you have to do something, they are now forced to look around a little bit more to find solutions. So it's really great that we've got a lot of waste solutions now. We've got a lot of creativity in the marketplace now due to different government initiatives. And it's a really exciting time for hotels to be active and to really get these things going, especially if you can think outside the square.